Hey guys, it's Paige. Welcome back to my channel. So I've really been looking forward to filming today's video. Someone actually left a comment on my last vlog suggesting that I make a video about all the reverse culture shocks that I've experienced since I moved back to the US from London. Funny enough, this has always been a video idea on my list, but because I received that comment, it definitely sped up the process and I just knew that I needed to get this video filmed today. Reverse culture shock is definitely something that I have been experiencing, y'all, and I've been talking about it with my friends and my family, a little bit on Instagram and TikTok, but of course I had to finally sit down and properly chat with y'all about it. So when I first moved abroad to London in January 2019, I could not have prepared myself for all of the little, culture shocks that I was going to experience. But I don't think most people realize that when you live somewhere else for so long, especially in another country, and you finally return home, you really do go through something called reverse culture shock. 4.5 years was a long time to be gone. And now that I'm back at home, not only have things changed, but so have I. So yeah, it's just been a very interesting experience. I've only been home for about a month now, so it's possible that this list will grow, but I thought that I would just go ahead and share 5 reverse culture shocks that I have experienced since I moved back home to the US after living abroad in London. Let's get into it. So I feel like a lot of you all might expect this one, and it's driving and transportation. Okay, so if you followed my London journey, then you know I did not drive while I lived in London, and I very much enjoyed not having to drive, okay? I was very vocal about that. I became a public transport princess. I was traveling all over London, all over England sometimes, on that train, y'all, on that bus. I had no shame. I would be, dressed up in my going out clothes, sitting right on that bus, okay? I had no problem with that at all. I just really never found it necessary to drive in the UK. And there was also a lot that would come along with that, like driving in the UK is very different. As I'm sure most of you all know, you sit on the opposite side of the car when you drive, you're on the opposite side of the road. So in order for me to even legally drive in the UK, I would have had to get an international driver's license and just do all of this stuff. Especially being in a major city like that has such an advanced public transportation system, I was more than good with that. And I've just never honestly enjoyed driving that much. To me, it's really kind of a hassle to have a car. Like, you always have to find somewhere to put it, like, and park it whenever you go anywhere. Sometimes you sit in traffic for hours. But with all of that being said, now that I am back home in the suburbs of Chicago, driving is an absolute must. I basically have to drive everywhere that I want to go. Now, don't get me wrong, there are some cities in the US that I know are way worse off, and they're just like not walkable cities at all. Some of these cities don't even have like sidewalks for people to get around. It's just all highways. So the area that I live in, the neighborhood that I live in, is definitely walkable. Like, there's sidewalks and all of that. Sometimes when I'm feeling in the mood, I will walk to my gym. It's like a 35-minute walk there and 35 minutes back. But other than that, it's just like not realistic. We have a local bus. I would never get on it. I'm just gonna say that. I have no interest in getting on that bus. We do have a nice train called the Metro train, which is like a suburban train that will get me to the city pretty quickly, like downtown Chicago. So I used to actually ride that every day when I would go to work before I left Chicago. So that's nice to have. But yeah, I mean, it honestly would be different if I lived in the city. The city of Chicago does have a pretty good, public transportation system. And I know a lot of people that live in the city and use it. But because I'm in the suburbs right now, driving is just a must. And I feel like that's just what it is for most people who live in like suburban communities, like you just drive. So yeah, that's definitely been a transition for me because I definitely had to get used to driving again. When I would come home and visit my family, I might drive once or twice if my mom would let me borrow her car. But other than that, like, I really just hadn't driven like that for a few years. I still have not been on the highway, y'all. I'm waiting for my mom to do it with me one day. We're gonna get on there together just so I can, get over the fear. But I don't even know how I'm gonna feel about driving in the snow when that comes around. So yeah. So yeah, that's definitely been a bit of a shock. Next on my list, and this is one of my favorite ones, y'all, and it has been the communication style. This is probably the reverse culture shock that I have seen the most and like noticed the most frequently since I've been home. And y'all, please, I hope nobody gets offended by this. This is all personal opinion as usual. Americans and British people are just different. in like a lot of different ways. And it was so funny when I first moved to London and I would meet British people and they're just like, Americans are so loud, Americans are too friendly, they talk too much, all of this stuff. And I'm like, really? Like, I don't think so. But y'all, since I have been back home, I have had so many conversations with random strangers. Probably more conversations since I've been back than I've had the entire time I was in London. I may be exaggerating, but like, y'all, just people coming up to you and just talking, you know, about anything. I've had people come up to me, you know, simple stuff like asking about my hair, complimenting my hair. Oh, who colors your hair? You know, things like that. You know, that's always cute. Then just people who come up to you and want to talk about the price of the detergent and the aisle and have a whole, you know, 5-minute conversation about that and the cost of living. I had a cashier at Walmart the other day who told me her whole health history story about how she had surgery and just all of these other like really personal things. And y'all, that just did not really happen in London and in the UK. And once again, this is my opinion, but I've always seen like British people as a lot more reserved than Americans. British people just kind of mind their business. And it also, you know, depends on where you are in England as well. Because I've been to like other parts and people were a lot more friendly and talkative, like northern parts of England, like Leeds. But in London specifically, like people just kind of mind their business and they talk to the people that they know. Of course, I'm not saying nobody in London was ever friendly or, you know, talk to me if they didn't know me, because that's not true. But I'm just saying that it happened a lot less regularly. So to come home and just feel like I'm just kind of like always bombarded by people and conversations and small talk, it has been a shock, y'all. It has been such a shock. And I'm just like, wow, I'm just not used to this anymore. But at the same time, y'all, I'm not even saying it's a bad thing. It's actually been pretty nice. You know, it's felt kind of like warm and welcoming, especially, you know, coming back home after so long. And it was just funny because like the first couple weeks after I got here, I remember kind of feeling like, whew, I'm a little bit exhausted by all of these interactions I'm having with people every time I step out the door. But yeah, I'm getting used to it again now. And now I'm kind of feeling like that was one of those things that I missed about home and didn't even realize. Please, nobody get mad at me for this one, okay? I know this is a sensitive subject for many, but we're gonna talk about tipping. So tipping is not as big of a thing in the UK as it is here in the US, right? There are options to tip in the UK, like you could tip your Uber Eats delivery person or like delivery people and things like that. But tipping is not so, what's the word? Expected like it is here. Like I've been seeing running jokes on Twitter for years, like someone in a store will like simply greet you and then they'll be holding out something that says, okay, now what do you want to tip me? And it's not a problem. It's not a problem, but it is just something that is different. I do have to remember. But I remember when I first moved there and I tried to tip my hairdresser, she was looking at me like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? But here in the US, like you're gonna tip for pretty much any service that you get. If you're getting your nails and your feet done, you're gonna tip the person who did your nails and tip the person who did your feet. You know what I mean? Like everybody is expecting a tip on top of what you're already paying. So yeah, since I've been back, I went to a new nail salon. I remember texting my best friend before I went and I'm like, how much do you usually tip? And she was just like filling me in and stuff. And I'm just like, look, I don't want to upset anybody. So let me figure out this tipping thing again, because people don't play about their tips. Okay, y'all, so for this next one is another money related reverse culture shock, and it's sales tax. I actually really liked this, but the tax was always just included in the price. So whatever price you saw on the shelves, whatever price you saw online, that's how much it costs, okay? You didn't have to be figuring out how much the tax was gonna be. It was just very straightforward. It is what it is. Where here, like I almost forgot, you know, I put something in my cart on Amazon the other day and then I saw the final price and I was like, oh, sales tax. I almost forgot about you. So yeah, that's something I've definitely had to keep in mind when I'm shopping here these days, that there will always be tax added. And I think I saved the best for last, y'all. And wait, before I even get into it, I just realized what I said, y'all, and I have to mention this. Someone left a comment on one of my recent videos saying, wow, her Chicago slang is coming back already. Like I hear her saying, y'all. Now, if you've been watching my videos for a while, then you know I ain't never stopped saying y'all. I've never stopped saying y'all. I am a Midwestern girl through and through. I moved to London as an adult, you know, as a 26-year-old. So my accent was never gonna change, you know. So I never stopped saying y'all, and now that I'm back here, I'm still saying y'all. So anyways, back to this last one. Yes, you guessed it. It's food. I actually uploaded a funny TikTok about this, like when I first got back, and some people had their feathers ruffled in the comments, okay? But I was just showing, you know, the grocery store, and I was panning, you know, some of the shelves and just showing like, it's a big difference than what I'm used to back in the UK. Like just beginning, you know, with the cereal aisles and just the different crazy cereal flavors that we have here compared to the UK, which doesn't have a lot of like wow flavors like that. I was showing that they were selling this like Twinkie and Ding Dong flavored iced latte in Walmart. Like I'm just like, what is this stuff? But I'm sure there's someone out there who's gonna be enjoying one today and they couldn't care less about my opinion. But I've said this, you know, for years. I did just feel like generally healthier living in the UK just because I knew that their food regulations were a lot tighter. There were a lot of things that they could not even legally put in the food that they have no problem with us having in our food here. When I first moved there, it was a big transition because the groceries I would buy, the produce and the meats and all of that, it would go off so much quicker. Like I was having to go to the grocery store multiple times a week. Whereas when I was living here, I could just go once a week, meal prep that food, and it would last, you know? But yeah, it just made me feel like the food there was more real, if that makes sense, because it was not like lasting for weeks and weeks. America's known for all our fast food places. We have way bigger portion sizes here as well. I can never knock America. We have some of the best food ever. Chicago alone has some of the best food in America. But y'all, it's dangerous. It's dangerous. But yeah, y'all, I think that is it for today's video. I hope you all enjoyed this list just as much as I enjoyed creating it. If you can think of any other reverse culture shocks you think I may come across now that I'm back here in the US, let me know in the comments. If you've ever experienced reverse culture shock yourself, definitely share that as well. And as always, thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye!